Now, the rest of the story.
And speaking of things that have really improved our efficiency around here, this grain auger, this is the second season with it, and greasing it and keeping it well maintained is obviously a plus. But being able to pull up to the bin, once I get it running and actually up to speed, I can empty this thing out in under 7 minutes, which is pretty awesome compared to the augers we've had in the past. This is the first auger we've had that is brand new, since we got it, but I've had the confidence to actually wind it up to 2,000 RPMs and not worry that the thing is going to rattle itself apart. So the one we had before this, that was starting to happen. It actually happened to me a few times that day when I switched to the 82. My depth perception was off from running the 76, so I was actually overshooting where I needed to park to get to the auger. But the auger we had before this was at Mayrath, which was used, and was significantly better than that Kiwani we had before it. But this auger is just so much better. With the dual augers that are in the sweep, I always try to make sure that I'm at least keeping them covered, because that way you know that you're pulling out the most grain that you can at that point in time. So that way you're not getting any voids or anything, because I'm trying to get in and out as fast as possible. And like I've said in the previous video, the 82, switching from the 76 to the 82 is huge. Going from the most I would slow down to would be 22 miles an hour with the 82, or the 76, it'd pull me right down to 15, and that starts to add up over the course of 12, 16 hours. So this stuff, the corn, you've also heard me say this before, we are dumping into the soak-up bin, the storage bin. This corn is dry. It's under 17%, and this corn is hands down the cleanest, prettiest grain we've put into these bins. Just a different beast that's threshing this corn out. You'll get the random, odd little chunk of cob, or maybe, some of the stalk, up where the tassel is, like the thinner stalk pieces, but very few, which is awesome. You're not getting the fines and everything and the random material throughout the corn, so your air is able to flow through the corn so much better. We did just shut the bins off a couple days ago, before all the snow hit. And, well, actually, as I speak, the snow is melting, so I'm hoping that we'll be dropping back in tomorrow afternoon, maybe, and hopefully get done with harvest. They're calling for some actual nice weather here in another week. And I actually went back and looked at my previous year's videos, which is kind of handy when you have, history like that. We were basically just starting tillage the 25th of November. And we actually have less to do this year than we did last year. So we get both the chisels running, that rotary mower running. We'll have all three tractors running until we're done, which I don't think it'll take us super long, just because of rotation and the beans, the farms that were beans and where they're at. So all the tillage is primarily right around home. Ryan does have some VTing that he does want to do, but not a whole lot. And even as far as the chiseling, with the two machines running auto guidance and everything, as long as the ground doesn't freeze, I think we'll be good. And listening to my self-talk from last year, sounds to me like we had colder weather conditions than we have in the weather forecast. So, hope for the best, deal with the rest kind of a situation. Luckily enough, Brittany doesn't get after me for not being home during busy season, but I make up for it for the rest of the year when I'm not planting or harvesting, or the few days where you're working late making hay. But this is the kind of stuff, as far as the grain flowing goes, that they talk about people getting trapped in and killed. When I was younger, 250 bushel wagon, pushing oats out of the wagon. Never really was a concern or worry because standing straight up, even as a kid, I mean, I was 6 foot tall by the time I was in the 5th grade. You weren't worried about getting trapped in the grain, but this wagon is the biggest wagon we've ever had. Yes, it's a 500 bushel, but it stands so much taller that even myself, if you get caught in that when you first turn it on and, you know, play stupid games, win stupid prizes, you could get hurt. Farming kids, I'd say, are generally probably around more risky situations and occupations than not all other people. But, you know, growing in a small dairy operation or that we grew up in, we've also seen some stuff and, you know, had accidents and near misses. But for me, I most certainly, you're not going to see me letting my kids in and around the grain wagons, or probably not even out of the tractors as we're doing this going forward. So Relina is just about to that age where she might want to ride with me more in the tractor, but time will tell. You can definitely see how dry this stuff is because the wagon is tilted backwards. That's why the grain is still hanging up there just a little bit. But the corn is dry enough where it essentially all runs out on its own without me having to worry about trying to sweep any out. Growing up, it was, yep, gotta get every little bit out, every load, shut the door and get out the driveway is the way to do it. I ended up breaking the door gear, which I had we just got a new one as a spare the week before, so I consider ourselves lucky there. That's all I really got for this video. The harvesting videos are probably going to just consist of largely me talking in the combine because when I am running, I'm trying to make sure that the carts get filled up immediately, and I am taking my time, but I'm not taking a whole lot of time to run around trying to get different camera angles. So I'll talk to you guys later.